Y'all gotta get with the program, champ. 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 Y'all gotta get with the 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 program, champ. With DONVETO show, the hardest working man in show business. We got another amazing guest coming on. She goes by the name of Deborah. Deborah is an executive producer, writer, director, casting agent for Deja Films, Inc. You know, I want y'all to check her out. You know, we gonna chop it up real nice. She's my homegirl, you know, so, you know, she wrote a lot of books and stuff like that. It was time for me to, you know, spotlight her, you know. So Deb, I see you on there, so I see somebody on there, but you waving, you got a request. Yeah, but we're gonna spotlight Deb right now because she's doing so much work out here for other people as far as books and movies and all kind of terrific things. So it's time for my girl Deb to shine, you know. There she goes, she pulling up early, you know. Deb, what's up, Deb? How you feeling? It's a nice day today.
Hola.
I'm talking real good about you right now. Look at that, real professional.
I heard you.
Looking good. Came right
Thank
on
you.
complications. You know, I ain't expect nothing less from you.
You already know I'm about my business.
Always been about your business. That's why I love you. You know, so Dad, how you doing today? What's up?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been resting for the past let's see, Friday for the past 3-4 days.
Mm-hmm.
I just been resting, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Been real busy. I'm always busy.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? How you feel about how you been holding up? How you feel about what's going on out here?
What, with the coronavirus?
Yeah, with everything.
Well, this shit is serious. You know, and I'm not gonna take it lightly. I don't care how many stores they open. You can open up anything you want to open. You know, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. You know, I'd rather be outside. I come outside. I get my little air. You know, walk around the block a few times and go right back in the house.
That's right.
There's nothing in the street for me right now.
Right. And be honest, wasn't nothing in the street before it happened, really. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. But you know, I do so many projects that I have to be outside. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I was blessed that I had a project to do while I was in quarantine. Well, I'm still in quarantine. Right now I'm in my office, which is right across the street from my house. So,
right.
You know, I go from my house to my office if I want to break up the monotony of being in the same environment, you know?
Correct.
But, yeah, I had a project to do, you know, during the quarantine. So those 45 days, I was so focused on that I didn't even feel the quarantine.
I got you.
You know, because I was busy. And that's how I like to stay. I'm a Gemini, and my mind is always on 100.
Right.
Always.
Always. So listen, how many books have you written in total so far?
I've written 13 books.
Nice. And how many movies to the book so far?
So far, 2.
So far, 2. Okay. So what I want to do right now, I put that out there because for the people that don't know you, I want them, we're going to get back to that, but I just want to just walk them through your life coming up, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to go back into the books and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So we tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from East Harlem.
Okay, born and raised.
I was born and raised in East Harlem, yes. And I'm still here.
There you go.
El Barrio. El Barrio.
El Barrio.
Yeah.
That's right. El Barrio.
Don't get me wrong. I've traveled. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I have a home in Tampa, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But I always come back here. Like, this is my stomping grounds. You know, I love it here.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything is changing. So, you know, I get to see the change.
Yes. Yes. So how was life in El Barrio growing up as a young girl?
Well, I grew up in 1199.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, middle class family. My mom was a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
She was an administrative assistant at Mount Sinai Hospital. So my mom did very well for herself in order to take care of me. So I kind of had everything. I was one of those spoiled kids because I was the youngest in my family and the only girl. So when you talk about like my aunts, my uncles, and everybody, you know, all I come from a family that they're all professionals.
Okay.
So I had a good life growing up, and until about the age of 14, 15, you know, I started. I was very attracted to the street. You know.
Yes.
My mom worked from 9 to 5, and I went to school and all that stuff. But then, you know, like after school, I was bored.
Right.
So I became very attractive, and being an only child in the house, I became bored. You know, I didn't have anybody in the house.
Right.
So I was attracted to going outside.
Okay.
And that's where my life kind of took a turn. You know, I wanted to be in the street. I didn't want to be home.
Right.
I don't know what else you want to know.
No, but what you mean it took a turn in what aspect?
Well, I wanted to start hanging out. I didn't want to go home on time. You know, like my mom gave me a curfew, and you know, I would never make my curfew. You know, I made my mother go through a lot of changes. You know, because I was her baby, and I'm a female. You know, and my mom knew the game. You know what I'm saying? She knew a lot of old timers. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, my mom put me up on a lot of things, but I didn't listen. Right. You know, I had my own way of being, my own mind. I made my own choices. You know, a lot of people could sit here and blame their mother, their father. Nah, I take responsibility for everything I did. You know, my mom was golden to me. You know what I'm saying? And she was a professional. She knew about the street life because, you know, she grew up in that era, you know, the 70s, the 60s and stuff like that. Right. But my mom wasn't a part of it. Okay. But she also knew about it. Right. Right. So whenever I would come home late, instead of her fighting with me, she would sit down and talk to me. You know, like I grew up in that type of household, you know? But I didn't listen. Right. So what did you do while you was out there? I would hang out. I started drinking. I started experimenting with like mescalines and stuff like that because now there was a point where I got the fake IDs. I wanted to be in the clubs. You know what I'm saying? So we used to go to 115 and Lakes, cop our little tab, and go to the club with the fake IDs. You know, and that's what I got into. I loved the club life. Okay. I love that life, like going in the clubs and the music, the lights, everything was just intriguing to me. Right. So hanging out, moving around, all that, did you run into it? You had fun, obviously, but did you, anything else happen during the course of you having the fun and stuff? Well, when you're in the clubs, you know, I was in the clubs young. So, you know, you had your, what we call the VIP sections, right? And a lot of men were attracted to me. Right? So they would invite me into these VIP sections. And at that time, a lot of people were sniffing coke. Right. You know? And they were sniffing coke and getting high and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, these people are getting high, but then they would be like, oh, we ran out, da 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 da, we got to get more. So I was like a sponge. I used to listen to everything, and I'm like, damn, but I know this dude, he got this. I could bring this down here,
Mm-hmm.
sell it for double. You know what I'm saying? So I got into selling drugs in the clubs.
Okay.
That's Interior, Limelight, She Escapes, you name it, I was in there. The Paradise Garage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there was a lot of gays, a lot of gay people at those clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and all they wanted to do was get high.
Right.
So what I did was I spoke to a friend of mine, and I was like, "Yo, I want to do this, I want to do that, make some money." He was like, "All right, no problem." So he gave it to me, and my
Mm-hmm.
first night was like, forget about it. And when I realized how much money I made, I'm talking about profit.
Right.
I got open. I was like, shit, I'm coming every day. And it became a daily thing. Like now I'm 16, 17, and it became a daily thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a lot of money. And then a lot of people don't know this about me because I don't really tell my whole story. I'm going to share it here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was one of those girls that I used to watch the men leave the tips on the bar, and the
Right.
bartender and I got so cool that I told him, I'm gonna take the tips. I'm gonna take all that money that's on that table. So I would go down the bar and just scoop up all the tips and then hit them off at the end of the night. We would split it. So I was always like like I was always scheming
Right. Right.
since young. I was like, I want money, and
Right.
I'm gonna do any means possible. You know what I mean? So there was a
Uh-huh.
lot of things that I did in those clubs to get bread,
Uh-huh.
and I started meeting a lot of rich men.
Mm-hmm.
So on my way, like at the end of the night, they would send me home in limousines, and stuff like that. So I felt, how do you say, being 16, 17 years old and you driving up to Harlem in a limousine, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
Like,
big. Yeah.
yeah, that was big.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I got into that. That's how I started selling drugs.
Okay. So as you went along and you was getting money, so what was your mind going after that? So you getting all this money, what did you do? You buy clothes, you buy jewelry? What did you
I
start
used to buy
doing?
anything I wanted.
Right.
Anything
Right.
I wanted. I traveled. I did a lot of things. If someone said, "Yo, let's go to Virginia Beach," all right, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I used to come home. I used to come uptown and hit all my friends off. You know what I'm saying? Like that was
Mm-hmm.
my thing
Right, right.
because a lot of my friends weren't as fortunate as I was, right? I already had not the silver spoon in my mouth, but I had a mother that maintained and did I'm telling you, my mom looked out for me. Anything I wanted, I mean, I was one of the best dressed females in East Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
so I was always also intrigued by the friend that didn't have it like that.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
when I came uptown with the money, I used to hit everybody off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's money, let's go shopping, let's go this, let's go that. And it wasn't a thing about, I needed attention or I wanted attention. It was
Mm-hmm.
just in my heart to do that.
Right, right.
It wasn't a thing about, I wasn't buying my friends because they're still my friends till this day. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? I
Yes.
wasn't buying my friends. I wasn't trying to get attention. It was just a part of me. If you didn't have those shoes that you really wanted, come on, man, let's go get it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it back then, how much were the shoes? Like $20, $25, like,
Uh-huh.
up 116 up the hill.
116. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it wasn't like I was spending hundreds and thousands of dollars. I was young.
Right.
So that was just my thing.
So they all
Giving
looked up to you kind of sort.
They did, yeah, they did, but it's like I said, like I'm the type of person that when I do something for you, it's from the heart.
I got you.
I've always been that way. I don't do something for you so you can do something for me.
I
You know
got
what I mean?
you. Mm-hmm.
Whatever I do for you is love. It's all love. If I
Mm-hmm.
got a new pair of shoes and you with me, you getting them shoes too. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like that
right.
was just my style growing up.
Okay.
I'm still like that.
Yeah.
You know, if I can help somebody out, that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. So, you know, when running around the clubs, you know, selling the coke, snatching the tip money and all that, did you ever catch a problem behind that?
Did I what?
You ever get in trouble, catch a problem behind doing that?
No.
Nah?
No, I never did because I already had it all set up with the bartender, you know?
Right,
And
right.
if I didn't know the bartender, I would tell the bartender, yo, I'm going to snatch up all them tips because you slow, you know? And people would just leave like $50, $100, you know, they would just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got 5 men just leaving money on the bar,
Mm-hmm.
let's say $100 each, that's $500 a pop. How much
Absolutely.
money was I coming home? I was coming home with a lot of money.
Tax-free money.
Hello. I'm blessed that I didn't get caught. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
probably would have got hurt.
Did you ever
But
get caught like did you ever sell the coke in the club? Did you ever sell the coke in the street?
oh yeah, oh yeah. That was later on though.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, that was later on. That was like in my 20s.
Uh-huh.
But how I started was the clubs.
Right. And then it moved it to the streets kind of sort of.
Yeah, because they started closing down a lot of the clubs, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that I was, you know, that I would go to.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got harder to get in the clubs
Right.
because now they're not only carding you, you know, your ID is fake. You know what I'm saying? So it was getting
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to get in.
Right.
You know, times change. You know, you got to move with the times. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't of age. So when they started closing down the clubs, you know, I was already into the money. I needed that. That was my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I have a money addiction. I still do to this day. Now I'm a little bit more humble.
Right,
You know,
right,
for
right.
back then it was really bad. Like I had to have it.
Right,
At
right, right.
any means possible.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is any means possible. Like, don't
Ah,
let me know you got this bread up in that safe. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because I'm
yeah.
going to get it. I'm going to get it. And then I'm going to bounce and you're not going to find me.
You say that again?
I said, then I'm a bounce and you're not going to find me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's a lot of things people don't know about me.
Right.
But
But
you asked me to get raw, so.
yeah, I need you because you know what it is? I want you to tell your story because I know you for a while and you wrote 13 books, you got 2 movies, you know, you doing some amazing things in the community.
Thank you.
But in order to write them stories, 13
You have
books,
to live that life.
you had to know about that life.
You have to live that life. You can only write what you know. You can read a book and know from the person that wrote it, you didn't live that life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could tell anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If I read a book and the person say they, you know, they were a drug dealer, they did this, you know, I already know by the way you writing it that you did not live that life.
Right.
And your character, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me somebody else's story.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. There are people that can write, you know, a fiction book and they get it right on point. But
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along the line, you have to have lived that life, especially if you're writing urban about street lit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can't make that shit up.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Did you ever get busted and do any time behind it or anything like that?
Did I do time what?
Did you ever get caught like you had to do some time behind selling drugs in the streets?
Yeah, but that was later on. So 17, 18 years old, clubs were changing. You know, now, you know, a lot of clubs are getting busted
Mm-hmm.
for selling drugs. You know, Limelight closed down, Paradise Garage closed down. Cause I hung out downtown. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I only
Right.
came uptown when I finished getting paid. When the
Right.
clubs, you know, when the clubs were closed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what happened to me was that my friend and I, my best friend, which is Trouble, Bruni Torres, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll see her story in Chain, the movie. She set this guy up, and I took his safe,
Right.
right? And when I took his safe, my brother-in-law I was with this guy at the time, and my brother-in-law shipped. He sent me. He sent me to Florida. That's how I ended up getting to Florida.
Okay.
And because he told me the nigga's gonna kill you. He's a fucking Cuban. The nigga's gonna kill you. You getting the fuck out of here. So I took the money, took the safe, split it with her, and I bounced. I left to Florida. When I arrived in Tampa, Tampa was all country. It was really not a city. You know what I'm saying? But you can't take. What's the saying about you could take me out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of me?
Right.
I found my way in Tampa, and it was crazy. I found my way in Tampa, and I started meeting a lot of Colombians. And that's when my story really started. You know what I mean? That's where the drug game really started for me.
Right.
Because not only was I young, I was pretty. You know what I'm saying? And I started meeting a lot of Colombians, and one of them, who became a good friend of mine, he told me, yo, if you want to make some money, because I always used to ask him, like, yo, I need some bread. I need money.
Right.
So he told me, he said, I got a job for you. The job pays $20,000. And I was like, what is it? I thought I'd kill somebody. I was like, I'm not killing nobody. He was like, nah, I need you to go to Miami, and I need you to go to the port of Miami and pick up stowaways. Stowaways are the Colombians that used to come on the boat. They used to come inside, like, I don't know, these little, I don't know how they did it, but they used to come over with bags, coffee bags, the coffee bean bags. They would fill that up with Coke, a few, kilos, and then put coffee in it.
Right.
And they would go into the ship, but they would be outside but inside. You know what I mean? Like these little, I can't even explain it. It looked like little tunnels, like caves, inside of the boat, right? Oh, girl, I got me a drink. Okay.
Okay, then you deserve it. There you go.
All right. So I drove out to Miami. I picked up the stowaways. They were stink. When I tell you stink, they were shitted, vomited, like stink, okay? So my job was to take them to the hotel, get the work from them, and then bring it back to Tampa. And that's what I did. I did it once. I did it twice. I did it 3 times. So now I'm missing New York. I was out there for like 6 years. And I was missing New York. I was like, damn, I need to go home. Like a part of me wanted to go home. And then I got a phone call from my brother-in-law. And he told me that the gentleman that I stole the safe, that I got the money, that I stole his money, he died. He had passed away. He told me I could come home.
Right. Wow.
He said, now you could come home. And when I came home with work. And that's how I ended up hustling in the city.
Okay. So you did a couple of the jobs for the stowaways, so you kept clicking. I counted like $100,000 in cash too, though.
Oh, it was more than that.
Okay.
I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money. But as fast as I got it, it was as fast as I spent it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, okay, I'm going to do it again next week or 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of the times I didn't take all the cash. I would, I wanted a brick, whatever, and then I would take half brick, half money, Yeah. So when I came back to the city, I came back packed. I came back strong.
Okay. So you set up a little team, or you just kept going by yourself?
What happened was that I started hanging out with a few of my male friends here, and I learned from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they taught me the game, the street game, because it's different, It was very different. And then, you know, at that time, the vials of crack were $20. They were the big ones. You know, so I had to pay somebody to cook for somebody. They would steal from me. You know, like I went through a lot of shit with that. Let me tell you something. You know, because whatever, I believe in karma. Whatever I was doing, trust me, that shit hit me double time. You know what I'm saying? So back then it was the vials of 20s. And what I used to do is I used to help out my friends, right? Before I even came out with my own shit, I didn't tell nobody that I had because I didn't trust nobody. And I started working with them and learning the street, and then little by little, I started coming out on my own.
Right. So, how long were you in the streets?
Oh my God, I was in the streets from 90. I think it was from 92 to 92 to 90. No, I'm sorry. 92 to 2002.
Right. Oh, you had a nice long run.
Oh, yeah, I had a long run.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, I had a long run in the street.
Right. So.
And then, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, in 2002, there was a big investigation, and of course they were investigating me, and two people on my team, they snitched on me. They wrote a statement on me, but you know, I need to keep it all the way 100, right? So
yes.
My mom and my dad separated when I was very, very young, and she started dating a police officer. And he became my stepfather. He raised me.
Right.
Okay. And he used to tell me, yo, when I retire, you're going to prison. He protected me for many years. That's why my run was long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because of that, I was able to move around the way I needed to in order not to get arrested. And I was arrested one time, and I remember them letting me go. I remember one time walking through Washington projects with, like, no lie, like 2,000 vials. Okay, and the officer feeling it in my coat. I had a big goose down. You know, I had packs here, packs there, you know, and him feeling it and him telling me, you need to go home. Your father's looking for you. You know, so I was blessed in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like, I should have been arrested a long time ago prior to that.
Right.
But my dad protected me. And then when he retired, it's crazy because when he retired, 2 days later, the SWAT team came and arrested me.
Wow. So arrested you by yourself, or you had a couple?
Arrested me by myself. What you do alone, you pay alone.
Right.
I'm a big believer in that. Because look, the two workers that I had, they flipped on me quick. They were the ones, they got arrested. I went and bailed them out. And during them being there, they wrote statements on me.
Wow.
And at that time, I was living on a hump first between Lexington and 3rd.
So how much time did they wind up doing?
They gave me 10 years. I did about 8.5, close to 9. Came home, had a little bit, had a parole time, but it wasn't long. I did a lot of time.
You went to the feds, or you?
No, I went to the state.
Oh,
I went to Bedford Hills.
So now, that's the only bid you did?
I did a bit prior to that, but it was short. It had nothing to do with the drugs or nothing like that.
Right. So you went to Bedford Hills. You had 10 years. So how did you feel when you went into Bedford Hills when you first got there?
I was devastated. Shit, I ain't never been locked up like that. I was free spirit. I'm a Gemini.
Yeah.
I can't feel trapped. You know, I was devastated. Plus, I had just had my baby. My baby was only 3 months.
Okay.
So that devastated me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It devastated me so much that I had to change.
Okay. So let me
You
ask you a
know.
question.
Mm-hmm.
So how did your mom feel? Because you and your mom was like tight, right?
Oh, my mom knew everything I was doing. She didn't agree with it, but you know, I didn't make excuses. You know, I kept it real with my mother. You know, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
after a while, it was like, give me money, give me money. You know, so
Yeah.
you know, I looked out for my moms. You know.
All right, so you in there. They sentenced you to 10 years. You in there. So what was your experience in there? Did you have drama in there? You have fights and anything?
I didn't have no drama in there, to be
Okay.
honest. You know, I kind of sort of stayed to myself, and I was just when I first went in, I was completely devastated. You know what I'm saying? So, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
show it. Of course, you can't show it. You know, and I learned
Right.
that from
Yeah.
the street life. You know, you can't show your fears. You can't show no emotion. You can't cry. So
Mm-hmm.
all those things I did, you know, on my own time alone. So I
Mm-hmm.
basically suffered in silence.
Right.
I suffered in silence for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got into the program. You know, you gotta go do your programs. You know, you go to the yard, you go chow. You know, I kind of like fell in, but didn't fall in because I didn't want to be there. I
Right.
didn't want to meet nobody. I'm the same way now. Like I'm real funny style with people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I don't really trust nobody. If
Right.
you get in, you know, if you get in, you're blessed.
Yes.
You
Right.
know, now even more as I get older, I trust less and less. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So let me ask you a question. So did you write any of your books while you was locked up?
Yeah, I wrote all my books while I was locked up.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wrote all my books. What I did was I started reading the urban fiction books, and I read Road Dogs by Kawan. He's one of my favorite authors. You know, I just read a whole, Terry Woods, True to the Game,
Mm-hmm.
Coldest Winter Ever. You know, I started reading the books, the urban books, because I could relate to the stories.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, it was easy for me to say, well, damn, I did that. You know what I'm saying? Or
Uh-huh.
I did something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I came across a book that was really badly. I couldn't even get through it, but I didn't have anything else to read, so I forced myself, kind of. And I was like, damn, you know, my letters home are better than this book.
Mm-hmm.
And I challenged myself, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna write my story.
Wow. Okay.
And I wrote Chain. I wrote Chain in 30 days.
Mm. So
And
when you wrote
then,
Chain, what did you do with it? Like, how, when you say you challenged yourself, you sent it out, got it published, or you had somebody else read it?
so when I started writing, I started asking I asked my mom, mom, go to Barnes and Nobles, um, get me a book on self-publishing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, no. Let me just say this. After I finished the book, I ordered a typewriter and I typed it out.
Mm.
I said, let me type it out, make it look professional. And let me tell you, I never went to school for writing. I
Mm-hmm.
never went to school for self-publishing. All of this stuff came to me naturally.
Wow.
It came to me naturally, and I typed out the book. Now I'm looking at the books that I already had, and I wrote, and I wrote. So I
Mm-hmm.
wrote the Warren a letter that he never received. We talk about that till this day. I'm like, yeah, I remember I wrote you that letter to Douglas Projects. You ain't never answered me. You never got the letter. Um, I wrote, I submitted the book to Terry Woods, and I also submitted the book to another author by the name of Relentless Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And Kawan never answered me because he never got the letter.
Right.
Terry Woods wrote me back and told me that she was interested in my book.
Mm-hmm.
And Relentless Aaron also contacted me and told me that he was interested in my book. They wanted me to, publish with them.
Right. Wow. That's all right. So you've been home for like what, 8 years, something like that? How long you been home?
I've been home since 2007.
All right, so you've been on for a while.
March 7, 2007.
That's right, and you're running strong. You're running strong. So now you got your books. You home. How'd you feel when you came home?
Well, first of all, I was happy to come home. First thing I did was go get my son.
Right.
From the RIP. I got off that Metro North and went straight to get my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you know, I started learning, like, it was MySpace then. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I dove right in. Like, I needed to find other authors. I needed to find other people that had books.
Right.
You know, and I did, little by little, like Kawan Foy, I found him. You know, Terry Woods, I found her online. You know, like, I just started putting people's names in, and I just started finding these, you know, finding these authors and requesting them, you know, started following them. And then one day I went to a book signing for Treasure E. Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that everyone was there. Like, back then, when I first came home, the industry, we all supported each other. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you had a book that was coming out and you did a book signing, we all showed up. You know what I'm saying? If the next author was coming out with a book, we all showed up. Like, I traveled everywhere to be either at a book signing or a book release party. So I traveled a lot too, and I got to meet a lot of authors.
Right.
So in Harlem here, I went to a book signing. I got to meet, you know, my graphic designer, who I still work with till this day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kawan Foy, who's mentored me the whole time. Eric S. Gray. There's a lot of different authors that I'm still connected to. You know, we're still friends. We still talk, and their suggestion to me coming home with Chain, because I ended up self-publishing, right? Terry wanted my book. I spoke to Terry on the phone from Bedford, and she told me that she was interested in buying my copyrights.
Okay.
At that time, she was a millionaire off her books. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, if she wants my book, I know I got a winner.
Yeah.
I got something on my hand.
Yeah.
So I didn't take the deal. I didn't take the deal because I knew I could do it on my own. You know, I had confidence, and I wasn't gonna sell it for $10,000 and you make $1 million. Because once you
y'all gotta get with the program, champ. 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 Y'all gotta get with the 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 program, champ.